Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic is the latest installment to the franchise, and it's already being regarded as a fan favorite FNAF game for many. It's already acted as one of the lore heaviest games in the franchise that has helped many theorists, including myself, to solve mysteries in parts of the timeline. But what if Secret of the Mimic was completely different? What if it included office gameplay and mechanics from the earliest FNAF games? What if Secret of the Mimic was a classic FNAF game? Well, join me today as I cover a fully animated game concept of what a point-and-click version of this game would look like that I'm calling FNAF Secret of the Mimic Reimagined. But for a quick disclaimer, by no means am I saying that this is what Secret of the Mimic should have been or that Steelworks Studios should have done this instead. I absolutely love Secret of the Mimic and actually every game that has come from the Steelworks era of the franchise. This is just a different take on this game using the past FNAF games as inspiration. So what makes a quote-unquote classic FNAF game? Well, I think it's actually a few things that have all been incorporated with this game concept. Number one, it should include a point-and-click style of gameplay that we saw with the first 7 games. Typically it's in an office with hallways or vents surrounding the room. Number two, it should include a cam-like system that shows us the route of animatronics or threats to help us survive. And number three, like the name suggests, there should be at least 5 different nights of the player fighting off animatronics, with each one getting progressively harder and a chance of there being bonus nights. And finally, number 4, there's usually lore and a story, where luckily here we already have a lot of lore from the actual game to go off of. So combining all of this with Secret of the Mimic, we get this final product. Now the game starts with a help wanted newspaper like any classic FNAF game, but because Arnold is already an employee of Fazbear's Entertainment, I instead thought it would be cool if this opening showcased a weekly company newsletter from Fazbear. There could even be other references to lore like a mandatory Springlock safety meeting taking place on Wednesday, or another small column for help wanted with the Fall Fest crew leaving this Friday. On the center column, we learn that a technician's help is needed to retrieve an endoskeleton from a contractor who's gone quiet and is keeping Fazbear-owned tech from them. So travel to Murray's costume manor and retrieve this endoskeleton in 5 days or less to receive full pay. Loading in, the main gameplay takes place in a mix of the manager's office and the security office. We see the desk and mailbot from the manager's office, but the monitors and computer from the security office. It's not something we'll use here, but don't worry, things like Moon.exe, hidden secrets, and text logs are something that will still be in this game, just used slightly different with this monitor. There's the Spring Bonnie bobblehead from Arnold's van, David's white tiger plushie which will be important later, and a Cleanovac to the side of the desk. The office is accompanied by 2 hallways and 2 doors that can be closed using the data drivers. But of course, pulling up the monitors, you'll find the cameras covering 12 different parts of Murray's costume manor. Most cameras feature 3 mascot animatronics that the Mimic can switch from, but some only have 1 animatronic that come with their own unique mechanic, like Jackie or Big Top that I'll go over soon. Cam 12 covers Admin Wing and features the Foam Puppy, the Jester, and Elephant mascot suits. Cam 11 covers Dollie's workshop, and here she's the only animatronic present that the Mimic can use. Cam 10 covers the theater and features the Foam Elephant and Puppy mascots alongside the Foxy Crew puppets. Cam 9 covers the Welcome Show and features the Penguin, Lion, and Foam Lion mascots. Cam 8 covers the Loading Bay, and this cam only features the Chica mascot who has a mechanic that connects to her music. Cam 7 covers the Welcome Lobby and features the Hedgehog, Foam Hedgehog, and Penguin mascot suits. Cam 6 covers the Storytime Nightlight Showroom and features the Lemur and Foam Poodle mascots. Cam 5 covers the Showroom Rooftop or Big Top Staircase, where he'll be the only animatronic that can appear. Cam 4 covers the Showroom Lobby and features the Jester, Poodle, and Mycelia Men mascots. Cam 3 covers Jackie's Showroom, where she is the only animatronic present as she can randomly pop out of her music box. Cam 1 and Cam 2 cover the left and right hallway surrounding the office. Watch these cameras to see if a mascot is close, and if so, use the data drivers to close the door when needed. When looking at the mascots, like the actual game, the Mimic will be the only main threat to the player who switches from mascot to mascot. He can be in any mascot or animatronic, so it's up to you to find out which one he's in and to keep track of him as he moves around Murray's costume manor. Here he starts out in the mushroom mascot suit on Cam 4 and begins to move, and to signal you that the Mimic has moved locations, the feed will glitch out. The Mimic will then move to camera 6 or the Nightlight Showroom before the feed glitches out once more. You then find him in Cam 1 and on the left hallway of the office. Animations of the mascots can occasionally play of them moving, so watch out. When a mascot is right in front of your office, turn the data driver to close the door and to listen to footsteps, meaning they have moved back, which should then allow you to open the door. But be mindful of your battery, as like in FNAF 1, closing and opening doors uses some electricity. Open the cams back up to find the Mimic and another mascot, where he is now inside of the Penguin mascot in Cam 9. Again, watch out for the camera feed glitch, meaning the mascot has moved, as he is now in Jackie's showroom before moving once more. If the mascot is at your door, close it and listen for the mascot's footsteps telling you that he's gone. But now we can start to look at the animatronics with unique mechanics. Now when looking at Jackie, the only way to know that the Mimic is now inside of this animatronic is by looking at Cam 3 and her showroom, where you'll find Jackie popping out of her music box accompanied by her voice lines. She can then move to your right hallway, where you'll now find the Mimic size replacing her own, as the camera feed glitches right when she starts moving. She'll appear right in front of your office, so be quick to close the door as fast as you can, since like the actual game, her main mechanic is that she's really fast and can go from cam to cam without even being noticed. She'll move between cams in just seconds, and before you know it, she'll be in the theater climbing across the room to reach you. And then you can find her in cam 4 next to these mascots staring at the camera, getting ready to move once again. She moves one last time to your left hallway, where the camera catches her as she's moving to really show how fast she is. Moving on to Big Top, incorporating him into this style of gameplay was a bit difficult, so the only way he can appear is on cam 5 and through the showroom rooftop, where an animation will play showcasing Big Top entering Mary's costume manor and getting close to you. His hand will then come peering down into your office asking for a ticket. I of course drew inspiration from Rockstar Freddy's mechanic from Ultimate Custom Night, so look around different cams until you eventually find a blue ticket in the welcome lobby and head it back to Big Top, where he'll take the ticket and will leave your office. With Dollie, her main mechanic is that she distorts the cameras for long periods of time using the shock pads on her hands. So opening up cam 11, you'll notice she's in a different position, meaning she is now the Mimic. Once the distortion stops, you'll find her in cam 6 with her hand once more pointed towards the camera, before she distorts the feed, disabling the cameras for 5 seconds. This allows her to move around into your right hallway, where you'll find her right outside the door. Looking at Chica, I also wanted to give her a mechanic that separated her from the other mascots, as she does have a relatively large role in the game. So here, Chica's Party World music will randomly play loudly in different rooms with this soundbar icon indicating where it's coming from. There is a chance that Chica will actually be in the room where the music's coming from, or the room will be empty and the music is just to distract you. But you can actually find Chica on your left hallway, and if a mascot is already inside of your room and past your door, there's nothing you can do to get rid of them. Including Moon was also a bit difficult, since it's theorized it's not even the Mimic inside its costume, so instead I took inspiration from Freddy from FNAF 1. When you're low on power, you'll begin to hear Moon's lullaby in the background, and when you do run out of energy, the lights of the manor will turn completely off. So Moon will be on your left hallway and will be the only light source as he continues to sing his lullaby. His babies weeping. With secondary threats, here the Foxy Crew puppets would be missing from the stage, where you start to hear the performance play. Different puppets can then show up in your office, where you have to click on them in order to make them disappear, similar to Helpy from Ultimate Custom Night. Click on the Roxy and Foxy puppets as they move around your office, as this will force them to return to the main stage, where they will no longer be a threat. An important mechanic I've yet to mention is entering the Springlock suit that would act as the Freddy mask from FNAF 2. Whenever a mascot is inside of the office, you can enter the Springlock suit, which would force them to leave. But you can only be inside the suit for about 10 seconds before the Springlocks would activate, crushing you, which would then end the night. Or if a mascot is still in your office, getting out will result in you getting jump scared. Night 5 would act as almost a boss fight with the Mimic skeleton itself. Here, not only is the Mimic extremely fast, but like in the chase sequence with the base game, the Mimic will be able to break down your doors. Each time the Mimic appears in either hallway and you close the door on him, you'll hear a loud bang and the door's health would decrease by 1. The door can only handle 3 hits before it completely becomes disabled and will be unusable. So watch the Mimic move around the cameras and hope he doesn't reach your office. So if the Mimic appears on either hallway for a total of 3 times, your last option is to go inside of the Springlock suit. The Mimic will stare at you while you're inside the suit, and all you can do is to wait for him to leave. After completing Night 5, you'll be met with the first ending, a termination slip from Fazbear's Entertainment. Because Arnold failed to retrieve the Mimic in 5 days or less, he's now being fired and sued for not following direct instructions. Of course, this is a nod to F10 and 4 giving false instructions to Arnold, and don't worry, we'll come back to her soon. For a bonus 6th night, Arnold will return to Mary's costume manor after being fired, where the Mimic will now be inside of the amalgamation of FNAF 1 parts from the parachute ending. or what's also known as M2 R&D. On the cams, not only is he the most aggressive he's been yet, but like Chica, the Mimic will place the prototype Springlock suits like Fredbear, Spring Bonnie, or Monty in different rooms accompanied by a shuffle noise to distract you. This will allow the Mimic to get closer and closer to your office, where the only way to get rid of him is by playing Edwin's voice lines in another room. This is of course inspiration from FNAF 3, like in that game, this will force the Mimic to move to that room. But there's a cooldown and limit which could also allow him to reach your office. So here the doors will be disabled from the last night, meaning nothing is stopping the Mimic from getting to you. So failing to keep the Mimic away from your office will result in you being jump scared. After completing Night 6, you'll be met with the second ending, a newspaper covering the fire that burned Murray's costume Manor to the ground. Nothing is left behind or recovered, and it's being reported that a technician who was inside the building has gone missing. All assets from MCM are being given away to a secondary company, and this company is already planning to build a new franchise location over it. In order to unlock the third and final ending, like the base game, we're going to incorporate Moon.exe. But unlike that game, instead of having a New Game Plus mode, after beating Night 6, you'll unlock Custom Night mode. You can customize between the mascots and animatronics with unique mechanics, and with the secondary threats like the puppets or Moon. Complete all of the modes like Tiger Rock or Mimic Frenzy, as each time you complete a mode, you'll unlock a collectible like the Fall Fest Globe. These collectibles will of course be used in Moon.exe, so most importantly collect Arnold's data driver. Back in the office, the data driver will now be inserted in the monitor, so use it to turn on the monitor and to access Moon.exe. Nothing with this minigame actually needs to change, it still works perfectly in this style of gameplay, and it would work just like any other minigame with lore we've gotten before. And the collectibles would work the exact same way. Different collectibles unlock different paths. The lore would also stay exactly the same. I think it tells us what we need to know while also leaving speculation up to the community. At the very end, collect the glitch permissions from Sun, and this is where I would simply add an additional step, since taking the permissions to Edwin's house and then to David's room to reset the Mimic wouldn't really work here. So after collecting the glitch permissions, you're then going to use it right away. There will be a last option to insert the data driver into an endoskeleton, which will cause the monitor to shut off and for you to unlock a new camera. Pulling off the monitor, you'll unlock the third and final ending. The Mimic, who has now been reset into the state of mimicking David. The Mimic is outside and playing on David's playground.
Why won't you play with me? Why won't you play with me?
Now when looking at the lore, like I mentioned earlier, I don't want to or need to change anything. My goal here is to just translate the free roam style of gameplay to this office gameplay. So I think the best way to execute this are through Easter eggs and through the cameras. After Night 6, not only do you unlock Custom Night, but you also unlock the ability to input codes into your monitor displaying hidden rooms. I took inspiration from Ruin, where we can find hidden camera stations that unlock the scooping room. But here, numbers would be scattered around MCM that can be put together just like they are in the base game. You can occasionally find 4 numbers scattered around different cameras, so input them in the numerical order of cams they were found in to unlock a new room. This would allow us to learn about Edwin's room and David's bedroom, or about the research and development area including the prototype FNAF 1 pizzeria and animatronics. We could find the dead technicians scattered around MCM from the past teams that were also sent to retrieve the Mimic. We could even find F10 and 4 in her office accompanied by some voice lines.
If you do not, M2 will never stop pursuing you. Tell Edwin, I still love him.
With the other lore like the text logs, they would be unlocked at the same time you unlock a collectible. A new collectible also unlocks a new text log. They could be read in the monitor in the office, since this also doesn't need to be changed. But with something like the voice logs, I think a good way to implement them here are through cutscene-like moments. Similar to the post-night cutscenes from FNAF 2, these would randomly play after nights and it would feature voice lines from Edwin or Fiona.
What the hell was that? They treat me like some contractor to crack a whip at. Oh, Fiona was right. They don't think of me as a friend anymore. This is the last project I ever do for them.
I already covered 3 endings that replace the endings from the base game. The first ending is in place of the bad ending where Arnold gets fired and stuffed into a suit by the Mimic. The second ending is in place for the parachute ending where Arnold escapes but is captured and Mary's costume Manor burns to the ground. And with the third ending, it's of course in place for the Moon.exe ending. But I still want to include part of the first ending where Arnold is stuffed inside of a suit, since I wasn't able to fit it with the termination slip. So instead, to replace this, there would be rare game over screens, where you're stuffed inside of a suit and the Mimic watches you from a distance, similar to the game over screen from past games. But in terms of something missing or something that I just found hard to find a place for are the tapes that tell us about Edwin Murray and his family. The best way I could think of to include them are through cutscene-like moments as well, but I guess it would just feel a bit random since in the actual game they had a sort of mechanic to them. So how would you guys add the tapes? But with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed my take on FNAF Secret of the Mimic as a classic FNAF game that I call FNAF Reimagined. With a project like this, it could honestly go either way. Characters could have different mechanics, and even the office could look completely different depending on how each person would do it. This is just my take on it, so what do you guys think? I also again want to make it clear that by no means am I saying that this is what Studio Studios should have done. These new FNAF games have introduced or reintroduced this franchise to so many fans, and without these games, the franchise, story, and timeline wouldn't be what it is today. So with all that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. Make sure to comment down below any thoughts or if I should continue this Reimagined series, since I actually think all Studio FNAF games could work as a classic game. So please consider hitting that like and subscribe button, and I really do appreciate all the support on the channel.